You didn't decide to stop explaining. It just started feeling pointless. Somewhere in the middle of another conversation, you felt it. That quiet shift. Like your words were leaving your mouth, but not really reaching anyone. And for the first time, you wondered if the problem wasn't them, but the need to explain at all. You used to replay everything in your head. Every message, every pause, every look that felt slightly off. You would analyze it from every angle, trying to fix something that wasn't even clear, trying to say the right thing in the right tone at the right time, as if clarity could be earned through overthinking. And when something went wrong, you explained more. You justified your intentions. You clarified your meaning. You made sure no one misunderstood you. Because being misunderstood felt heavier than being wrong. Like if they didn't get you, then maybe you didn't exist the way you thought you did. So you spoke more than you needed to. Not because you had a lot to say, but because silence made you uncomfortable. Silence left space for judgment, for assumptions, for distance, and you weren't ready to let people fill in the blanks on their own. But something changed, slowly and then all at once. You started noticing how people heard what they wanted to hear, not what you actually said. You realized that no matter how carefully you explained yourself, some people would still twist it, still misunderstand, still reduce you to their version of you. And that's when it hit you. You weren't explaining to be understood. You were explaining to feel in control. Control over how people saw you. Control over how they judged you. Control over the outcome of every interaction. And the moment you saw that, the need to explain started fading. Because control like that isn't real. It's exhausting. It turns every conversation into a performance, every sentence into something calculated. You stop speaking naturally. You start editing yourself in real time. And eventually, you don't even know what you actually feel anymore. So you paused. Not dramatically, not as some big decision, just a quiet hesitation. You let a moment pass without filling it. You let someone misunderstand you and didn't rush to fix it. And it felt strange, uncomfortable, but also lighter. You realized something most people avoid seeing. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Not every situation needs your voice. And not every version of you needs to be corrected in someone else's mind. Some things are better left as they are. And the more you stayed silent, the more you saw. You saw who actually tried to understand you without being guided. You saw who only valued you when you made things easy for them. You saw how much of your energy was going into managing perceptions instead of living your truth. Silence started to feel different. It wasn't emptiness anymore. It was clarity. It gave you space to observe instead of react, to feel without needing to translate those feelings into words immediately, to exist without constantly proving something. You began to understand that being misunderstood isn't always a loss. Sometimes it's a filter. It removes the people who only connect with a version of you that you had to explain into existence. And what's left is quieter, but more real. You stopped rushing to respond. You stopped over-explaining your choices. You stopped defending things that felt right to you. And instead of losing yourself in other people's interpretations, you started staying with your own. That's where the shift happened. Not in what you said, but in what you no longer felt the need to say. You didn't become cold. You became precise. You didn't disconnect. You just stopped overextending your energy into places it wasn't respected. There's a certain power in being able to sit with being misunderstood. Not because you enjoy it, but because you no longer fear it. Because you trust that the people who are meant to understand you will, without you having to explain every piece of yourself. And for the first time, your words started meaning more. Not because you said more, but because you said less. You chose when to speak. You chose when to stay quiet. And that choice became your control. You're not trying to win every conversation anymore. You're not trying to be seen a certain way. You're just being. And that presence speaks louder than anything you used to explain. So maybe it wasn't about them not understanding you. Maybe it was about you finally understanding yourself enough to stop needing them to. Because the moment you stopped explaining everything wasn't the moment you gave up. It was the moment you stopped performing and started becoming real.